Ladies and gentlemen, this is Strategy Joe, and look at that. Look what we got today. Finally, the announcement of Victoria 3 right here. It is wonderful. It's actually on Steam. Let me just quickly add that to my wish list, and I'm not even logged in, so I'll do that after. No worries. I'll add it to my wish list. It's been a long expected release, a lot of memes, and you see I'm so much crazy about it, I didn't even bother cleaning up behind me. So, this is how impactful it is in my life. Not that it truly is, but it is a game I was looking forward to for a very long time, so I'm very glad it's coming out. So, actually, I just wanted to maybe take a look at what we're given up to now with this game and see what we know about it, what we can make out if it will probably be a good or a bad game. We're pretty far off from the actual release, so it's hard to predict exactly what's gonna happen with this game. But I do have the assumption that if there is a release, it will be around 10 months from here, so maybe, February, 22nd February of 2022 sounds like a great release date for Victoria 3. But whatever, it's there, so we start getting some updates, some release, some more information coming out. We already have the first developer diary log that has come out, but it has not been very fulfilling with information up to now what we got with that. So let's take a look at the pictures a bit, right? So right here, we got a first picture of the United Kingdoms, just showing off the map a bit. Let me just quickly zoom in so we get a better appreciation of the image we're given right now. So we can definitely get some information right here. December 10, 1836. That means we definitely will be starting around that date, and I think it might be one of the confirmed thing. It's the same threshold of 1836 to 1936 that we'll be getting, but we have a little bit more complementary information in the taskbar underneath. So there appears to be different interest groups, so I believe the population will be landed into these interest groups, and you can have a representation of a percentage of your population with these groups. So managing them, I feel like reminds me a lot of the estates in Europe Universalis 4. Hopefully, it does not go the same way for the management, that we have more complex and better way to manage than just, very cookie clicker way of just granting more land and money or tax reduction to make them happy or not. Hopefully, we get more complexity there, and also some rivalry, because I see here we have industrialists, we have landed gentry, Anglican Church, petite bourgeoisie. All these are factions that are probably competing for pretty much the same sort of interest. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out. We also get some commanders, markets, colonies, and states, and we'll be able to talk a bit more about these different as we progress throughout the pictures and the information we have been given up to now about the game. For the map, just speaking strictly about like the appearance of the ground, it's not my favorite. I like the Imperator Rome appearance, but right now I don't know. I will not make any assumption that this is the final look of the game. This probably will have some change, but up to now I don't really appreciate the graphical design of the world map itself. So we'll see. Maybe also, this seems to be like the terrain map mode. So once you put in the particle map mode, it probably will not even be a problem. You'll never see the map mode again, ever again. But we do have some information right here. If you look, there seems to be like some red figures over the different towns. So I guess they're probably some sort of resistance That will be my guess here. We got a red fist, so definitely some sort of rebellions. Don't forget, this is the era of revolutions, so they will need to talk and share information about revolutions throughout the game. We can also see there seems to be a selection of ideas that will be implemented because we got the light bulb right here, and we got a little 8. I don't know what that could be. But the light bulb really appears to be like the ideas in European Universalis 4. If you play Victoria 2, you have the main technology that you can choose, but after that, all the inventions, like the actual telephones, the actual tanks, they're inventions, but once you unlock like the technologies you need for them to be unlocked, you don't actually go and physically choose what you want. It's just a random chance. So I'll wait and see what more they give for the technology tree. I hope it takes inspiration from Victoria 1, where depending on your school of academia, it grants you the ability to expand in different area of technology prowess. So if you are a merchant navy like the UK, you'll be more likely to spec into technologies that are for the navy or industrialization. Just because of the nature of your academia, you're forced to select certain technologies because you have to pick one out of 5. But I don't think we have much information about how the technology will work up to now, so we'll be waiting. Now we have a Leinster in the British market. No, don't call the IRA, please. All right. So as you can see, one thing that was announced that I really look forward to is there will be different local markets. So really, as my hope and dreams video proposed, there will be a lot of importance into the markets, the stockpiles, and the way that you manage economically and politically and diplomatically will all be tied together, so you don't just need to go to war to conquer land. You can actually buy it outright. Apparently, we don't really have details on how that will be working at them now, so we have to wait a bit. If we look here, we can see more details about that region. We got an overview. We will be able to build buildings, so I suspect strongly that we'll have forts, ports, railroads, and factories mostly. Maybe also some other buildings, but I think really these 4 type of buildings will be the most critical one in Victoria 3. And some random information that will probably, once you click there, you'll never go back and click that case again. That's my assumption here. So that is part of the British market. We got some infrastructure with the usage, a GDP, a market access percentage. We got more details on the little buildings here. So definitely have some ports, maybe production building that looks like farms. Let me expand that up for you boys. Yeah, definitely looks like pasture field, farms. I'm not sure these maybe barracks. Look more like government buildings here. This is like a fishing dock, a mine. I don't know about that. And it's hard to tell with just the icon. But definitely, okay, we get a good impression of what type of building we'll be having in different regions. Now we don't really have details on how the mechanics works for it. Population, the turmoil, that's probably like a rebel percentage. The population 269k. No, okay, that's the amount of peasants, but the population is 1.8 these 6 million people. That is a lot of people there with a growth and migration. And there seems to be like 3 classes still. So we have the poor, the middle class, and the rich class of population. So our population will be divided just like in Victoria 2 and 1, depending on their wealth, and each one will have their own little like possibility to respond to all their necessities to be living. And I'm not sure what these number really represent standard of living. I suspect that will be it. And we get some more information here. You know, you see all these cases here. We got military, factories, economy, overview, ideas, happiness, diplomacy. But really just generic paradox buttons here. Nothing really more to see. Let me pop up next screen. And what do we have here? So we will be able to play as China. So we have the Chinese market with the most underproduced goods. So we definitely have some wheat, paper, liquor. Liquor is still in the game, boys. Yeah, that's good. We got some share clothes, wood, fish, tea. That looks like tea. Probably coffee will also be in the game. That looks like meat. Is it meat? Yeah, probably is meat. It looks like a cut up fish, but at the same time, you got a fish up there, so I suspect that's meat. And we got iron right there. This one is probably iron. I don't think steel will be in the lingo, but you never know. And trade routes. I don't know about that. It's actually the first time I pay attention to that section. So we have 6 trade routes, unused level of trade routes in this market. We can import or export. We got other countries' trade routes 0 and 1. I don't know if we have to do manual trading. I'll wait for more information on that, but I don't like the look of that. That looks a lot like Imperator Rome. I don't think trading system in Imperator Rome was good at all, man. So I that doesn't look good to me right now. So we got 7 up there. Here the map. We got Daynam. Seems like there's like nothing loaded up here, so I don't know if it's probably just early access. I don't think it's actually how you should be playing this game. You probably have some markers to identify the regions, but we do see there's some rivers. So I don't know if they will have much of an impact, but there are lakes, like mountain ranges, roads available. We see here down in Daynam, and there seems to be, I don't know if it's just like cosmetic fog, not fog with clouds, or if we're gonna have some fog of war, like European Universalis 4. I doubt it that we will be getting fog of war. That will be very awkward in Victoria 3, as it's pretty much an era where fog of war is not really an issue for any nation, at least any nation worth playing. Probably not an issue with Fog of War. That is really more of Europa Universalis 4, where you act to explore a planet. So I'll go on a long ditch and say this is probably just cosmetic clouds. Right here, January 8th, 1836, so probably very near the start. Interest groups are a bit different here, but we still have rural folks and armed forces. We got some marginalized groups, so that will be interesting to see more development on that little tab there. And we got some commanders. We got 1 general, 10 out of 10. I don't know yet how it works. And we got 2 admiral with 5 out of 10. Really, I don't have much detail on how the army works, but I mean, it's very early. And we got 100% control of the Chinese market, apparently. So that is for the second screen. Let's move on to the next one, which is more interesting because it gives more of an idea of what you'll actually be seeing throughout your gameplay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm clicking everywhere where I should not. Alright, so we're still in the UK. Is it the same date? It's 1837 here. So that really appears to be a politics tree, yes. So we have institutions, constitutional laws, an overview, number of investment level, bureaucracy, weekly cost. So this looks like the Reform 3, I'd say. Like in Victoria 2, you had all the reforms in the politics and with the decisions. I feel like they probably mixed them together, like constitutional laws really look like the more political reforms, and institutions probably like a mix of decision and the other 3, the social reforms. So in the colonial affairs, we got a little boost to colonial growth generation speed multiplier, 40%. I don't know, maybe more attraction for migration. Hopefully we can have more manipulation of the migration toward the new world in Victoria 3 compared to Victoria 2, because in Victoria 2, it's always the United States getting every single migrant going to the new world. So if we can maybe play, as Brazil or Argentina or Grand Columbia and actually get migration, it could be very interesting to have different setup available over there. We also have social security, different point available. We got 10% industrialist political strength with 2 minimum wealth. This really looks like social reforms, all of them, right? Different bonus to different subcategory of population. And we have a bureaucracy cost. So Paradox said there will be no mana in the game, but I look at that, man. That looks like fucking mana to me. And not just that it looks like fucking mana to me, right? Because in Victoria 2, there was some mana, right? You got the political action point. This is definitely mana. You got maximum of 9, and it costs you 2 to have any political diplomatic action to take. But here we're talking about like a fucking weekly cost of something but there's no mana in the game, guys. But this, I don't know. I'll wait for more details. This looks like mana, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know what what design that is, man. That doesn't look like a good design if you want to avoid mana shit. All right, so next screen up there. This is the overview of the politic tab. So we have active interest group that looks like maybe a clergy group that I don't know, maybe a ruler is part of. Definitely the ruler seemed to have much more of an impact than in Victoria 2, because in Victoria 2 you don't even know who the ruler is, you just know the party. But here we can see King William of Hanover and the heir with different little stats available right here. You see this little whatever these do, these will have an impact on your country. It's His Majesty's government, so there are elections with dates, and you can see the previous election results, so you have an idea for the country was heading during the last election. But it doesn't have the date, so that's weird. Why don't you put in the date at the same time? It will be more logical in my opinion to see. Previous election on 1836 was that. So as you're nearing 1840, you know there has been 4 years between the previous election, the future one, and you can probably change, I believe, in 10 years the orientation of a country, but that is to be seen. For the government, we have a legitimacy, so that's not mana. That's a good sign. We got Anglican Church. So they represent 15.6% of the population. They have different rate available. Looks like that appears to be action to me, right? The red dots. So these will be like traits that you actually have, like whatever this is. Oh, okay. Because look right here. We have the interest group that is active here is from the Anglican Church, and whatever that is probably granting you a bonus. And since this one comes from that interest group, they actually like that you use their own bonus, so they like you more. And then you can actually go and press different options. So this really brings me back to Europa Universalis 4 estates here, and I don't think that's a good design. I hope that's not the way it's going, because I don't think that's a good design the way it was done. But we'll see. But really, I don't like that up to now. And we got rural folks with different bonus that you could be selecting, or different action that you can take. And I don't know what these more icons there. And we got, okay, so that's government. All right, so these 15.6. Okay, so this is not actually a representation of a percentage. It's a representation of the seats in the constitutional government. So Anglican Church and rural folks are 15.6 and 9.5, so about 25% of the entire seats available in the constitutional government, Congress, whatever you want to call it. And they're going against the opposition here, that are form of the intelligentsia, the petite bourgeoisie, industrialists, and the gentry and armed forces. So these are really political factions. So that's like a bit more enlightening now that I see that. But really, like these options, I'll wait for more details, maybe a dev diary on these, to really tell us what these will do. But really, if these are like, oh, okay, it's not mana, but you can press the button once every 5 years, I mean, this is not as more interesting. It's not a better mechanic just because you don't have mana. It's even a worse fucking mechanic because you don't have mana and you just wait. It's a clicker game. That's how it is for the estates. That's the main gripe I have with the estates. So that is pretty much it for this little screen. Let's see, do we have anything else? We got one last screenshot. Take a look at. So we are now with the Ottoman Empire. The map. I mean, it has to be early access map because it's not. Unless I'm crazy, I'm pretty convinced Imperator Rome has a better map, a better looking map, right? It's not as complete because it doesn't cover the entire planet, but I have a feeling it looks better. But this one, I don't know, man. It's just I don't know. There's something. It lacks a pop. It lacks like emotion in the map, if that can even be, right? All right, let's take a look. So, yeah, out of there, we also had a couple of options. So I believe like uh, this is factories, right here, factories, politics, reforms, military, market trading. So these will be your main clicking point to have any interaction with the world. And right here, we got a little bit more expansion into the sidebar there. We have more information with the interest group. We can actually see what seems to be enabled in each group. We got marginalized group. We got market. So we got the Turkish market at 100%. And we got all the freaking states with the population hanging around. So that gives us a good idea of the map. Now let's go and right here there's a beautiful post by, now let me zoom out a bit for you guys so you have a better sight into what's going on. That's by Asset TG. And I if I'm not mistaken, this person works for IGN, so they probably are a very reliable source if you consider normal journalism reliable for gaming information. I mean, if you don't look for a review of Cuphead, I think classical medias could be believable with what they give us. But, I mean, it looks legitimate here. So he says that everything he saw was very work in progress, but he was able to give us some key information about a game. This is a simulation and not a map painter. That I really like that point. Military conquest is not the main focus. Victoria 3 is more about diplomatic maneuvering, shaping your society and laws, building and industrializing your economy, and tending to the garden of your nation. That really, I like that. If it is really in line with what the game is, I appreciate that because I think that really is what should be the entire thing. We don't need another map painter after Imperator Rome, Europa Universalis, and Earths of Iron. I mean, if you want a map painter, there's plenty available, and they're almost giving them away for free, right? So maybe something more complex. Doesn't have to make 8 different entry-level grand strategy game at some point. You can make something complex. I think players are ready now. So let's see what the key points that this person, I'll call him as a TG. Just TG. Yeah, I'll just call him TG. I don't know if that's the name he's going with, but whatever. 1836 to 1936, 4 ticks a day. So rather than 1 tick a day, like in Victor 2, we're going to get 4 ticks. So probably like midnight, morning, noon, afternoon, midnight. Right? And next day after 4 ticks. So the camping lane will be similar to Europa Universalis 4, which honestly I don't know if it's that much of a good idea, right? I appreciated Victoria 2 because it was shorter in length when you were doing a campaign. Well, wasn't really sure in length because you had to grind down to halfway through the game just to get right in with the colonization. But I don't know. I'll have to see. But it's fun that is extending the playtime for 100 years, and we could get more ticks, so more actions. And anyway, I'm sure most of you will be flying through at speed 5 like crazy mofos, so I don't think it even matters. The map will be divided into states, provinces. There are about 730 states at the start of the game, and the smallest unit you'll interact with the politics and economics. So that's interesting. 730 states, really nice. Managing the little states and sphere of influence. It will be possible to split existing states, or I'm scrolling way too fast. Sorry about that, guys. So you'll be able to split them. Provinces or subdivisions that you interact to maneuver the armies. So I like that. And while colonizing and calling all state provinces. So I like that because, as he says, it's similar to Earth of Iron 4. So the management aspect of the states, you got 730 states, right? So that's where you go and manage, just like the provinces, like in Victoria 2, the states in Victoria 2. But each little region, you don't actually need to bother about it, like for the management side. But if you want to maneuver your armies around, that's where they come and play. And probably like, hopefully, the resource will be bound more to the sub states. If you conquer a portion of like enemies' mountains, then you can reduce their iron production. Hopefully, we never know, but hopefully. Visually, the urbanization will spread across individual province within a state, so that's very nice because in Victoria 2, the more you get urbanized with more population, it's just the city. I don't know if you've ever seen or even noticed, but the city model just grows. It's really awkward because if you go in the option and put like a million pop, fully civilized, you just have big cities in the middle of nowhere and the middle of oceans. In the Pacific, the little towns become just big blobs. It's weird, but whatever. Pre-alpha map looking better than Earth of Iron 4, but worse than CK3 Imperator. Exactly like I was thinking. They say it's not done yet, but you can definitely zoom in further in Earth of Iron 4. That will be good. And it seems to be feeling bigger than Earth of Iron 4. And zoom all the way out looks similar to Vicky 2 paper map, so that is interesting. And it's in line with my first impression of the picture. I just don't like. And by the way, it's the first time I'm going through this Reddit post from TJ. So I don't even know what he's talking about, but I feel like a lot of people gave him rewards, so it's probably worth taking a look at. Alright, there will be over 100 playable countries, but not every country will be playable. Most of Africa, parts of inner South America, and few surviving native tribes in North America, including the Lakota, Dakota, and Cree, were not playable. These are decentralized countries. Post-launch, they want to make them playable eventually, but they want to do them right, because the gameplay experience should be significantly different. All the decentralized countries have name and government. There are no uncolonized provinces, but you can colonize on top of a decentralized colony without declaring war. So this is exactly in line with what I was saying a couple weeks ago in my Victory Hopes and Dreams videos. I want more details, more interaction, more countries, but I feel like they listened to me, even though it was probably designed years ago. But you know, they will give live and details to the region you usually just colonize, and you still just colonize them in the end. It's the same ending, but you can actually do it more peacefully than just lending your army, or actually like in Victoria 2, if it is occupied by a country, you just lend your army and occupy. But if it is occupied by like uncolonized, you just click two button. Depending if you have the Hearts of Darkness, you just click two button colonize. So it's not the best one. Definitely looking forward to that. More details about colonization system, because it's like the core part of the game, right? Full pop like Victoria 2, over a billion people are modeled individually, which will roughly double by game end, including dependents. These represent non working children, no makers. Your laws, children labor laws determine how much economic output your dependents create and if they collect wages. Like kids will still be counted as dependent, but your wages of dependent might go up along with mortality rate. I like that because in Victoria 2, the population number you see is only adult male. That is the population. Like if you mouse over it, it tells you okay, you have 5 million adult male, but you actually got 12 million population. That counts the women, that counts the elders, and that counts the childrens, right? But right here, it seems like every single person will be modeled in the game. So yeah, that's interesting to see how they'll manage because that is a lot of calculations if they don't make it as block units, right? If you look into Victoria, one population were blocks, right? You had a block, and it was not like an individual living thinking unit. It was really like a blob. But if you go into Victoria 2, then there's more variety and individualism to each unit, each person, each pop. In Victoria 3, from the information we're getting here, it seems like it will go balls deep in that individualism world, which it sounds like a great plan. I'm looking forward to more details on that. The example of pop types: capitalist, laborer, machinist, farmers, shopkeepers, engineers, aristocrat, clergyman, officers, bureaucrat, academic, servicemen, and clerks. So a lot of pop types will be available in the game. Standard of living, we went through that. So depending on tax and what they can buy and sell. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm scrolling so fast, guys. Sorry about that. So children can work, receive welfare payment, blah blah blah. Your GDP will be able to measure how much you produce and affect your great power ranking. Sorry, but doesn't necessarily reflect how much money you have as a player you have to spend. The Ottomans, for example, start with very inefficient tax systems, so they have a small state budget compared to their GDP. I like that because this brings financial approach in the game, a financial facet that while was kind of simulated in the game with the tax efficiency in Victoria 2, was not represented in your actual, like you didn't have a GDP, right? The ranking didn't even care how much money you had. The only reason to have a lot of money is you can make more factories, more boats, more, you can buy more stuff. That's all that money mattered for. But right here, it will actually account for the wealth of your population. So that's interesting. Capitalists work completely different from Vacate 2. Capitalism isn't let the AI do it mode. Thank God. That was like the worst. When you get laissez-faire in Victoria 2, man, just fucking alt F4. And it's not worth it. Or just cheat, nobody cares. But unless you're like the United States with like half the world under control, laissez-faire is never good for you in Vic 2. That's pretty cool. So they'll be working with the aristocrat to invest the profits into building and creating new resource pools. So very interesting. I'll wait for more details on that too. I mean, pretty much everything you'll need to wait for more details. And every nation will have a primary culture and state religion with varying level of acceptance of other religion and culture based on your laws. None except pop are paid lower wages and are more likely to radicalize. So that is interesting. Definitely adds some of the politicization that we're definitely not going through once more. Oh, of course, I had to talk about the modern day, and I didn't pay attention to the next line. In places like the US, discrimination is on a racial basis. This is based on your country's law and can be changed. There are no culture groups, but cultures have traits like heritage traits and linguistic traits, and your law will look at how alike or different those are from your main culture. So someone from England will be less discriminated against in American society. Someone from a different part of Europe will face more discrimination than the Englishman, but not too much. But someone from Africa or Asia will face a lot of discrimination. So I'm really, really excited to see, because like I'm excited to see how it will work as a mechanic in the game, but also excited to see how it will be implemented in 2021 because we can't fucking kid ourselves that this world's fucked up. So, bringing some racism, good old racism in the game, like a game that touches probably the period where there was the most racism ever in the history of humankind, will be interesting to see how it's implemented, and especially the reaction of the people. Every state has a portion of arable land which represent how much agricultural industry it can support. Sphere have been replaced with markets, so I was talking about a bit about that earlier. So there are multiple local markets instead of a single world market. Expanding your market is going by a new playstyle aside from conquest. Painting the map economically, you can bring other countries into your market diplomatically or through war. Trade them between market is done by setting up one-way import and export trade deals on specific goods, of which you can only have limited number at a time per market based on a number of factors. So I'm really looking forward to more details about that, because if you watch my Hope and Dreams of Victoria 3 video, I talk a lot about sphere of influences, how I want the game to be calibrated on the sphere of influences, because that's how it is, that's how it worked in that time, right? The European countries work together, with their colonies, but the colonies were self-governed. You don't have no business going to deal personally with every single colony of your nation, right? Just not logical. So really interested to see more details about the markets. An example, Mecklenburg started on the Prussian market, but then they probably transferred the Austrian or whatever. That's interesting. Really, it sounds like the sphere of influence, but maybe easier to manipulate how the country will be. The number of countries that can be in your market at a time is based on the market leader diplomatic influence, which is one of the main capacity type. Capacities are different from power mana, and they're different because it's not the same name, right? This is it's not a pool of point you build up and spend. It's more like having enough electricity to run a lot of devices. Influence is also used for things like alliances. You get influence primarily from having rivalries, your power ranking, great powers get a ton, which is logical, and a few other things that had percentage modifier. So it is, right, if we go by the RPG, you have the mana, right, the blue thing that keeps going up and you can cast spell. This sounds like not like energy or rage, if you're talking about like World of Warcraft, because that's what I got coming up in my mind. That you build up and then you can expand it. Not even like right now. I'm thinking. You remember naval points in Victoria 2? This sounds like it. This sounds like the implementation they went with. So yeah, it's not mana. It's not mana, right? It's energy. It's energy. We don't have mana, guys. We got different points. Alright, the price of goods are based on supply and demand. It's not even based with arbitrary starting prices like EU4 tank, Conman, Year 4. Prices is just whack. It's a full market simulation. Pop and industry will place buy orders, while industry will also place sell orders for finished goods. There's a screen that lets you see what are currently the 5 most underproduced and the 5 most overproduced goods in your market. So you can set up trade deals and expand industry to meet demand better. So this I'm looking forward to, man. This is what I like about Victoria 2, the entire fucking idea of the market. If we can put it next level with embargoing your enemies or blocking resources, stockpiling every machine on your end, this is fantastic idea. The other factor that affect this is infrastructure, having insufficient infrastructure. So infrastructure is just another freaking energy point, right? So now we move from mana to energy points. That's the impression I have up to now about this game. Around 50 trade goods divided into staples of consumed by all pop for daily need. Industrial goods consumed. So we'll have 50 goods, right? Is it like all that? All right. So 50 trade goods. Good. 50 resources. Interesting. Uh, Victoria too. How many resources we had in Victoria too? I think we had 30 something, right? Real quick. Yeah, that sounds like a accurate number. 36, maybe something like that. So now we gotta get 50. So a little bit more variety. Looking for more details because right now we have the information. Production building and resource input output. Good. The production method on will affect how the building operates. So they can be privately owned or belonging to a merchant guild, publicly trade, government run, or worker cooperative. This affects what kind of pops are employed here and what wages they're paid and who collect the dividend profits. Privately owned workshop will employ capitalists who get most of the wealth generated with the workers getting only wages. Whereas a worker cooperative, the people doing the work own the workshop and split the wealth it generates evenly. Interesting take. This interesting take. I don't know how it work, but definitely looking forward. Government-run industries will have mandatory subsidies, meaning any losses they incur will come directly out of your national treasury rather than letting them go out of business. But you can also pocket any profit. Interesting. You can have a status command economy without being communist. A communism itself, while it often goes hand in hand with a command economy, so that's like plan economy in Victoria too, is now more directly related to the distribution of the wealth and political power. Communism is not when the government does thing. The government doing more thing doesn't make it more communister. I don't. Communism is bad. I think that's what it means. So how many points? This is going on forever, boys. Oh, but we have a lot of stuff here, man. Maybe just a quick flyby, man. If you ever see something that seems interesting, like Jeff Bezos here, you have lower middle upper strata determined by pop type, mainly determine wage level and taxation under uneven tax laws. Interesting. So definitely a lot of information already available about the game just because one guy was able to see some details. How many words are in that freaking post? This is crazy, TJ. But here let's just do these quick example here. Power structure, you have different type of government, distribution of power, citizenship, church and state, bureaucracy, conscription, internal security. I have no clue what. It's just like a dumpster of information here. Is that like technologies? Either technologies or reforms. But yeah, we went through a good amount. I mean, I'll drop a link right here. So you go to that website in the description of this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed that because really, I was looking forward this game and yeah, this is victory. You know what I mean? It's victory. Let's watch together the trailer. Another train game, man. Revolution. What a woman votes. Colonization. Diplomacy. Blimps. Nah. Zeppelins. A grand tomorrow, boys. Victoria 3, final rounds. But hopefully you like this quick sneak peek of 45 minutes. God damn it, what am I doing with my life? We went through all the pictures, went through everything we know so far, like a quarter of the way through, and then just jump over everything else. Hopefully you like that. And if you want to know more about Victoria 3 or just see meme videos about Vic 2, Vic 3, Vic 4, whatever, make sure to hit that subscribe button right somewhere there. Hit the like. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.